Good morning, all of you. Before going to my presentation, I would like to thank Organizing Secretary of FarmLearner.com for giving me an opportunity to talk a few words with you regarding soil. So let me introduce myself. I am Dr. C. Sudarshana, working as Assistant Professor Soil Science, School of Agriculture Sciences and Technology, SVKM's NMIMS, Shirpur Campus, Dhule District and Maharashtra State. My topic of the presentation is role of soil quality in enhancing soil productivity. From recent past, all are uttering the word soil quality, soil health as such. But what is the importance of soil quality and why we need to know more about soil quality? Those things we will discuss today in brief. So, we all know that soil does all this by performing five essential functions. That is regulating water. It helps in the movement of water, whether it may be rain, snow melt, or irrigation water that moves along with the dissolved solute flows over the land or into or through the soil. Sustain plant and animal life. Of course, the diversity and productivity of the living things depends only on the soil. Filtering buffering potential pollutants. Whatever the minerals and the microbes in soil are responsible for filtering. So it acts as a filter. It filters everything. Buffering. Buffering means it maintains the pH. It maintains the pH at regular intervals. Degrade. Degrading. It degrades all the whatever the residue that is there. Immobilize. Whatever the inorganic form of an element which gets converted into organic form that get immobilized and get fixed in the soil. Detoxification. It is also a most important thing. If you find any heavy metals like mercury, cadmium, and lead, so they are getting detoxified by the help of soil, whether it may be organic material or inorganic material. Of course, the human interventions like industrial and municipal byproducts are also getting saved, getting saved by the soil. Cycling nutrients. All the essential nutrients that are required by the crop or the humans, they get cycled in all the spheres. It moves to the atmosphere, it moves to the biosphere, and it moves to the hydrosphere. Hence, all the elements that are required may have cycled. Physical stability and support. Of course, this is an important factor. If you find a huge tree and it is of over 100 of years, it has been standing over 100 of years, and how it is standing. That is because the anchorage by the roots to the soil. That anchoring support is given by the help of soil only. So it is a medium for the not only for the nutrients but also it provides a better anchorage to the roots. Of course, it provides the support for the human structures and also it protects some archaeological treasures. So, what is soil quality? Soil quality is the capacity of a specific kind of a soil to function within the natural or managed ecosystem boundaries to sustain plant and animal productivity and maintain or enhance water and air quality and support human health and habitation. So everything is included here. Soil not only grows a crop, not only anchors the plant, but it also manages. It also manages the ecosystem. It also maintains the air, water quality, and it also supports the human health and habitation. So everything included in the definition of the soil quality. So soil has both inherent and dynamic qualities. Inherent means they are acquired from the parent. So inherent characteristics are acquired from the parent. If you take a soil that is inherited by the original parent rock or the mother rock, that is parent material. If you take an example, soil texture is the quality which is originated from the parent material. So granitic parent material that is there results in the formation of coarse textured soils. If you take a fine grained basalt, that results in the formation of fine textured soils. So this way, the inherent characters are transformed from the mother rock to the formation of the soil. Dynamic soil quality is the quality which goes on changing over a period of time. So if you take an example, pH. The pH of the soil, if you check pH of the soil now and it changes within the week or within a season, within a year. So this way, this qualities go on changes. So there is an ecological definition of soil quality according to Doran and Parkin. It is the same thing. It's in other way. The capacity of a soil to function within the land use and ecosystem boundaries to sustain biological productivity, maintains environmental quality and promote plant and animal human health. Okay. So if you see these diagrams, the soil depends upon the various factors. Jenny has given the various factors of soil formation like climate, topography, time, organism, and parent material. All this depends upon the formation of the soil. And of course, the change in one factor results in the formation of another type of soil. So these are called as pedogenic changes. Pedogenic changes. Whatever the land use management that has been followed by the human has a major influence on the soil quality than the pedogenic conditions, pedoclimatic conditions. So if you take mechanization, if you take fertilization, if you take the crop intensity, or if you take the crop duration or the type of crop or the cropping pattern, all these influence the soil quality because they are the land use management practices that are in the field. Okay, these have the greater influence on the soil quality than pathogenic factors. Another term is soil health. Soil health refers to self-regulation, stability, resilience, and lack of stress symptoms in a soil as ecosystem. So self-regulation, it should be stable, it should stable. Resilience, it should regain its original soil. And lack of stress, there should not be any problem in the soil. Then the health of the soil will be good. But soil health describes the biological integrity of the soil community and the balance among the organisms within the soil and between the soil organisms and their environment. So we talk only, if you take soil health, we talk only regarding the biological integrity of the soil community. If the biological integrity is good, then the soil health is good. But if the biological integrity is good, we can't decide the soil quality is good. I'll come to the later part why it is so. So we know that there are 4 soil health principles: minimize the disturbance, maximize the soil cover, maximize the continuous living roots, and maximize the biodiversity. So if you follow this, we can manage the soil health. The term soil health is used to describe the state of a soil in sustaining plant and animal productivity and biodiversity. That is soil biodiversity, maintaining the enhance the water and air quality, supporting the human health and habitation. So this is also given by the Doran and Parkin in the same way as he described the soil health, soil quality. So, what is the difference between soil quality and soil health? The term soil quality and soil health are often used interchangeably, but there are some differences due to some preferences. So, producers prefer soil health, which portrays soil as a living, dynamic organism that functions holistically rather than an intimate mixture of sand, silt, and clay, characterized on the basis of descriptive qualitative properties. Soil scientists prefer soil quality, which describes quantifiable physical, chemical, and biological characteristics. To scientists, soil health require value judgments that cannot be. To scientists, soil health requires value judgments. Okay. So soil quality has several indicators. There are three types of indicators that are there for soil quality. One is physical indicator, second one is chemical indicator, and a biological indicator. And all these three indicators are interlinked to each other. They are interlinked to each other. If change in one of the indicators results in the change in the indicator. That will come to the later on. So indicator signals desirable or undesirable changes in the land and vegetation management that have occurred or may occur in the future. These indicators may directly monitor the soil or monitor the outcomes that are affected by the soil, such as increasing the biomass, improving the water use efficiency or aeration. So the soil quality indicators can also be used to evaluate sustainability of a land and soil management practices in agro ecosystem. This third point is very much essential for us. These indicators can also be used to evaluate the sustainability of the land and soil management practices. So these are the predominant soil quality indicators at micro and macro farm levels. So these are the physical indicators, chemical indicators, and biological indicators. So apart from the properties, we can also consider the passage of air as a physical indicator, clay mineralogy, soil color, consistency, oxygen diffusion rate, ODR, pore conductivity, pore size distribution, which is also an important factor, total porosity. If you take chemical indicators, not only pH and all the nutrient availability is not the important thing. We can also consider base saturation percentage, cation exchange capacity, or exchangeable sodium percentage, nutrient cycling rates, or plant nutrient contents or sodium absorption SCR, sodium absorption ratio. So if it is biological indicators, not only OC or the biomass carbon that is important, we have to consider all these. It's like total biomass of the bacterial fungi, soil respiration, enzymatic activity, dehydrogenase phosphatase, aryl sulfatase, etc. And fingerprinting, substrate utilization, fatty acid and nucleic acid analysis. So, how the soil quality indicators influence the soil function sustainability? So, if you take the physical attributes, if you take blood density, it, it results in the formation of compaction, root growth, it decreases the or increases the infiltration. If it is aggregation, it reduces the erosion, it reduces crusting, it reduces infiltration, and it helps in gas diffusion. So similarly, if you take the infiltration rate, runoff is increasing, erosion increasing, leaching. I told you soil temperature. You have to study on the heat, soil warming activities, species diversity of the soil flora. So this way we can study different functions of the indicators that are there and its importance. Chemical attributes, if it is pH, of course, pH is the basic index of chemical reactions that says, but saturation, what all the absorption, desorption, and solubilization reactions, and CEC, if it is CEC, what are all the ion exchange phenomena that happen in the soil and how the leaching happens. If we take biological entities like soil organic matter, structural formation, mineralization, how it converts to mineralizable forms, and biomass carbon and nutrient retentions. So, how to assess the soil quality? So, assessment of soil quality is a dynamic way to document soil conditions. So, it is a dynamic way to maintain the soil conditions and its response to management. So, what are the soil condition is there and how to manage it, and its resistance to stress imposed by the natural or human users, and how it can be managed, how it can be managed by the external forces like human or natural. So I'll discuss here some few assessment tools of soil quality. So among which the common one is soil quality index. Soil quality index, in short we will call it as SQI. So what we are doing here is we are considering the various attributes, whether it may be physical, chemical, or biological, and we are bringing out the all the attributes in a one set, and we are subjecting into the statistical principal component analysis, statistical PCA. So after getting principal component analysis, we have to select the minimum data set of that indicators that represents the best in the soil functions. So if I take an example, so if I consider the soil which has a good pH, a neutral pH, and a good soil structure, and also uh, a, a good nutrient availability, but has a sodium toxicity, has a sodium toxicity. But the major influencing factor is exchangeable sodium percentage or sodium content that is there in the soil, which has the greater influence on the soil. No doubt it has been the structure is good and the available nutrients are also good, but only the lack is the sodium content. Even though pH is neutral, but the content of the sodium is has been increased slightly. So, minimize that sodium toxicity, or how to eradicate that sodium toxicity even though it is slight. So this way the most influential indicators are selected. Most influential indicators are selected to a minimum data set, And after selecting the minimum data set, scoring of the minimum data set is, is given based on the performance of the soil functions. So corroboration of the minimum data set indicators with functional goals set with land manager or grower, and integration of the indicator score into a comparative index of the soil quality. So what we are doing is we are corroborating the whatever the indicator scoring as well as the weighted average, weighted average of the individual attributes, and we are summing up by summing up all the attributes with the scoring, and which gives the final output as a quality index value. And of course, after getting quality, we can calculate the cumulative rating index also. based on the attributes. So this is the formula for soil quality index where sigma is equal to WSI, where I varies to 1 to n, where S is the score for the variables, subscripted variables, and W is the factor loading derived from the principal component analysis or the weighted average. That is, so after multiplying the scoring with weighted average by summing up all the attributes, it gives the soil quality index. So this is another way of describing the soil quality, where SQA is equal to QWE-WT, QWMS-WT, and QRS-WT, and QRPT-WT plus QPNS-WT and QSCP-WT, where Q is the scoring or the rating that is given to the particular attribute, and WE, WMS, RSD, and RBD, PNS, and SCP are the variables or the attributes. And WT is the numerical weighted average for the each soil function. If it is WE as the rating of the soil's ability to accommodate water in. WMS to facilitate water movement and storage. RSD is the rating for the resist surface degradation. RBD resist chemical degradation. NS to supply nutrients. SCP to sustain crop production. So this way we can select the attributes and we have to give the scoring and we have to multiply with the weighted averages. So after multiplying we have to add all the values and we will get soil quality index. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the calculating how to calculate soil quality index. So we will be having so many indicators, whether physical, chemical, and biological. All the indicators are put together, and after putting together, they are subjected to principal component analysis. And after getting principal component analysis, they are selected for the minimum data set. After selecting minimum data set, they are included and scoring is given each parameter based on the functions, and after that it is multiplied with the weighted average, and hence the soil quality index can be calculated. It's a function of scored minimum data set indicators according to Allen and Mitchell. So this is an example of the how the soil quality index is calculated and how it is compared. So this is the quality index of various mapping units of Kowloon micro watershed. So I have classified different soils. This is my PhD work. I have classified the different soils and I have brought down the soil quality index comparing 16 attributes, and I have brought down this soil quality index on the principal component analysis. So, and I have found that Lingeri Thanda has 0.5 soil quality index, and I have given the soil quality class as low, medium, high. In the below table, 0.4 to 0.59 as low, and 0.6 to 0.75 as medium, and more than 0.76 as high. And I have found that all the soils, these are the mapping units or these are the series that are in a watershed, micro watershed, and I found that all soils are in medium except that is in low soil quality index. So from this, I can say that the Lingeri Thanda, which has low soil quality and which is there should be taken the Lingeri Thanda series than the other soils, other type of soils. And most care should be taken for Lingeri Thanda when compared to the other soils. And if you take all the other soils, they are also in the medium, and the why it is medium and what are all the attributes that are making the soil quality as medium, has to be discussed and that has to be managed. So this is another assessment tool, that is productivity potential. So assessment of productivity potential in the micro watershed. So how is it given as PI, that is productivity index, by multiplying the scorings of the various intrinsic soil properties like moisture, drainage, effective depth, textures, structure, base saturation, soluble salt concentration, organic matter, exchange capacity, or nature of the clay and the mineral reserves. So this way we have to classify the whatever the attributes that are there, and we have to give the scoring, and we have to multiply the scoring along with the attribute, and we have to bring down the productivity. So let me take an example. The same thing what I have done for Kodur micro watershed. So these are the soil types, soil series or mapping units that are there, and these are the properties that have and these are the scoring that is given for each mapping unit. After calculating the productivity index, I have found that the productivity index of Kodur series was average and it was 24.42. So means the soil type is the productivity was higher in this than compared to all these based on the above parameters. So if we take the linkage and of course we have earlier we have seen soil quality index as low, and now we are finding the productivity index as poor. No doubt, poor productivity is also for the Kilankira series, but soil quality index was also less in this case. So we can consider, and this Lingiri gives lesser productivity than the other type of soils. This way, we can compare various types of soil and we can suggest the management aspects that are required with respect to the attributes. With respect to attributes, and we can develop the soil. So there are other tools of soil quality like a soil conditioning index and soil management assessment work, SMAF, agro ecosystem performance assessment tools at new cornell soil assessment have been recently reported. So there are one more thing. There are several tools that are available. There are several models that are prepared for a micro watershed or a watershed as a whole, and they are developing various soil quality indices, and they are bringing out the management practices. So the special emphasis should be given in this field, in soil quality field, and we can assess the soil quality and we can give the management aspects. So what are all the simple steps for improving the soil quality productivity? The first and foremost important thing is controlling soil erosion through effective soil and water conservation measures. Of course, this is an important one. Because why? Because we have to stop the erosion. Then only we can stop the movement of the clay. The movement of the clay is a highly influenced one, which influences the all the attributes. It may influences the texture, it may influences the porosity, it may influence the nutrient availability, it may influences the microbial populations. So first initially we have to arrest the movement of the clay. That is, we have to control the soil erosion, whether it may be sheet erosion, rill erosion, or gully erosion, by making soil and water conservation measures. I don't want to discuss, there are n number of measures, whether it may be agronomic or whether it may be engineering. So we have to conserve both soil as well as water. Rejuvenation and reorientation of soil health program, soil testing program. So, uh, since from 80s, we are conducting so many soil tests for various soils, I think there are lakhs together soil tests have been done for our Indian soils. And we know that there are 600 labs which measures the soil indicators, whether it may be physically, chemical or biological, and also the water quality. But why we are not maintaining the soil quality? So we have to rejuvenate the soil testing labs. We have to reorient the soil testing methods. We have to reorient the mass soil testing methods, and we have to give the skill expertise to the soil testing labs. And we can also go for site specific nutrient management. Site specific nutrient management that helps in the applying the nutrients at specific sites and maintaining the uh, fertility status. Soil health scheme. Of course, this has been introduced in the recent past. The soil health scheme is already practiced. So, district level soil care labs. There should be a district level soil care labs where they have to take care about the soils regularly. And one more important thing is crop suitability recommendation. No doubt we are giving recommendation based on the soil test values. We are just giving the amount of nitrogen, amount of phosphorus and amount of potassium, and also recently the amount of micronutrients like sulfur or zinc or whatever we are recommending. But it is not up to the level, because whatever the farmer that he grows is depend upon his mentality, not depend upon the soil. So we have to suggest the farmers to grow crops based on the soil test values. So we have to suggest crop suitability for the soils. Crop suitability recommendation should be given to the soils so that we can grow the suitable crop for that particular soil and they can be productivity. So promotion of agriculture management practices which enhances the organic matter. Of course, there are n number of NGOs and also agencies that work upon the organic farming, organics. So this should be enhanced. This should be enhanced. That means more FIM or compost, and we will get more soil organic carbon. More FIM, more compost, and we will get more soil organic carbon. So there is no restriction of upping FIM. If you add more, there will not be any toxic. If you add more of compost, there will not be any toxic effect. We can suggest more of applying FIM and compost to the soils, and we can improve the soil organic carbon. Legume-based crop planning. So use of legumes wherever it is necessary, whether it may be crop rotation, whether it may be intercropping, whether it may be sequential cropping, whatever it may be, we should use the legume-based crop planning in the fields so that the nutrient availability will be increased. INM along with the need-based crop suitability recommendations. Along with the fertilizer recommendation, we should also give the crop suitability for that particular soil so that we can increase the soil quality. Development and promotion of other resources for enhancing microbial diversity and ensuring their availability. So, whatever the microbial population has to be increased. No doubt we are saying farmers to increase the microbial population, but we are not saying them to maintain the microbiota. That is also an important factor. We have to not only we have to apply, but also to maintain microbial population. Availability of balanced multi-nutrient fertilizers. So we have all the fertilizers, including secondary and micronutrients, but it should be balanced. It should be balanced. Enhancing the input use efficiency through precision farming. So the recent concept is precision farming that is gaining a very much importance in the recent recent decade, and it is application of inputs in a precise form, so that we can we can increase the input use efficiency of the particular fertilizer or nutrient, whatever. Amelioration of problematic soils using a suitable amendments and improving their quality to desired level. This is very much important. Simply we are getting a lime or a gypsum for a less of cost or a no cost. We should not apply as they have given. We should apply as the GR or gypsum requirement or lime requirement. We have to calculate the lime requirement and gypsum requirement. Based on the calculated LR and GR, we have to apply the problematic soils, lime for the acid soil and gypsum for the sodic soil. So land cover management, that is to maintain the microbial population, or we can maintain, from that we can also maintain the carbon sequestration. Need for organized functional statutory bodies at central and in the states and land care and soil resource health. So there are a number of statutory bodies that are been working continuously in the central as well as state, but the special emphasis should be given in order to maintain the soil quality. There should be important one is intensive research should be taken care in case of soil quality. No doubt there are assessment tools are available, but there should be the study of the soil quality research should be more, and we should, so that we can improve the soil quality. Healthy soil for life. So this is a picture released during 2015 in the International Year of Soils by FAO, Healthy Soils for a Healthy Life. So whatever we discussed till now, that indicates in this picture the sustainable soil management for healthy soils, healthy food and healthy people. We have to ensure crop protection, reduce soil surface covered, minimize the tillage, increase the organic matter content. If you do this, we can get all the available micro and macronutrients to the crop. So if all the nutrients are available, plant grows well. Growth will be more, leaves will be more, root development will be more, plant becomes healthy, and fruit formation will be more good, and seed formation will be good, and hence the plant growth will be very much good. The productivity also will be good. And after that, uh, so whatever the nutrients that are there in the plants, that is transferred to the human. If the soil is healthy, the plant will be healthy. If the plant is healthy, and whatever the human or the man that he takes, he will be healthy. So healthy soils for a healthy life. So whatever the soil degradation leads to the soil loss of micro and macronutrients, nutrient poor soils are unable to produce healthy food. Nutrient poor soils are able to produce healthy food, all necessary nutrients for healthy persons. So there should be, soil should be healthy, then only he will get all the necessary nutrients. Okay, so uh, that's why we have to take care of our soils, and we have to be healthy. So from all this, I conclude that soil quality is an important aspect, whether he's a scientist or a farmer or any student like you. So study of soil quality is very much important, and not only knowing the property which is declining in the soil, but also we have to study the interlinkage of the properties within the other attributes, and comparing the other attributes with the property, and how to manage that property with also by improving the other attributes also. So this way we can manage the soil and we have to improve the quality. Okay. Thank you.